Awesome. Okay, you guys, welcome back to the Soul Hustle Summit series. And I'm very excited to introduce a true veteran in the feminine entrepreneur space, Kathryn Alice. She is a best-selling author, a love coach extraordinaire. She's also a business mentor. She has a lot to offer. You wrote your first book in what, 2004?
Yeah, 2002, our first like CD came out back in the day. Now it's all on Audible. And then my best-selling book, like the first big book, came out in 2007. So it's been a while.
Good for you. You still look spring chicken.
Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, so you are a true veteran, and you have built your empire in the relationship and love coaching business, and now you are turning a corner, semi-retiring, just mentoring right now, right?
Right. Yes.
So tell us a little bit about that transition for you.
Well, I've had books and courses out for a long time. And I have kids. I have 4 kids. And I just realized that I need to spend more time with family while I can. And so it takes a toll if you try to do too much coaching. In the beginning, I was scared to turn anybody down. So I was doing like 10 sessions a day and could crawl in bed and like order takeout. So now I don't do that, but I'm increasingly pulling back. I still do a handful of people, I will coach, and I just phased out my last coaching group. So and I'm turning it over to my coaches. And meanwhile, we're going to emphasize a little more do-at-home courses and the books that we have and the downloads and things like that. So that's my transition.
I expect a lot of our listeners would be dreaming to be in a situation like you, where they've fulfilled every goal in their career and now they get to enjoy life and wind down. So tell me, how did you build the empire that you have right now?
Well, in the beginning, I was directing a crisis support team, and I started teaching workshops in every area where people had crisis: career, money, love, breakups especially. And people really started coming. There was lines around the corner because people really needed some crisis support help. So then I started teaching workshops in many other cities, and I built a following, and we started releasing, because I started having babies, and my husband had a studio, and he's like, you've got to start doing some audio. You can't be there for everybody. And so I did, and we put it on Amazon way back, and they've done amazingly well. Our best-selling one is releasing. I know, it's awesome. And so they just keep going and going. And so it was based off live workshops I did. So it was based on stuff that's working for people. And I think that was one of the secrets, is I already had a lot of experience on what was working to help people. I specialized in love because that seemed like the most suicidal people would come in on love issues. But meanwhile, a lot of people went to mentor with me because I was having this success. And I had like 9 publishers wanting my book. I got a really good premier agent, literary agent, and we had 9 publishers wanting my book because they knew I could sell books because I already had built a following. And then when that book came out, I got pregnant, celebrating, signing the book deal. And then I took this tiny newborn on like a 25 city book tour. So then I was, I've always been parenting and, empire building. And then I started charging a lot of money for coaching, like, 6 figures a year per person for coaching. And so I started going more high end because there was definitely a demand for me. And it's just gone very well, probably because my work is pretty effective. I know how to help people.
How did you attract that kind of high ticket client? Like did they just come to you? Was it your books? Like what was it that made you so attractive to them and irresistible, clearly?
Well, I partner with a friend of mine who charges, she is more successful than me. She's been on a lot of television as a coach. And she was charging more. And she's like, Kathryn, you were charging peanuts and you've got this huge demand. So she kind of helped me to start charging like $5,000 a month. And I literally signed up somebody within a day without trying, just because I was not tapping my market. I was pricing myself too low, I think. And so that client stuck with me for several years. She could afford it. I offer a real, very good hands-on approach to coaching. I'm really there for people. And
Mhm.
so then I signed up another the week after, and I've since even raised rates from that. But it just was organic. And at some point, I realized if I'm going to keep this going, I do have to target a little for a higher end market,
Mhm.
because I was kind of mass market with Amazon, and not a lot of people couldn't afford that access to me. They can access at lower levels just with a book, or a $2 download. But if they really want my attention, that's at a premium. And so then we started targeting some ads and other things to people who were doing better. And we would screen to make sure they could actually afford me. So I wasn't wasting my time. And I don't mean that to sound cold, but I've got kids and I really have to be present for them. So I can't just give away my time all over the place.
What do you say to coaches now? There's so many coaches in the space. Like, what was the market like when you got into the business and you were having this level of success? Because right now
Yeah.
the coaching world is just exploding.
I don't think it matters. There's a lot of dropout. People give up, but I truly think that everybody on the planet should get a coach. I paid a lot of money for coaches, and I don't regret any of the money spent.
Yeah.
And so I think that there's a market for everybody, and we all have our people. Some people will not like me, but they'll like one of my coaches or one of my colleagues. And so I feel like there's a coach for everybody. If you are called to do coaching, there's people who need you,
Yeah.
and who will resonate with the way you present and the way you coach. And so I think there's room for all of us, really. I've never worried about that because, I have my people, and everybody I've mentored, they have their people. So
It's crazy since I've had a coach in my life. It's like we don't see our blind spots until we pay someone to point them out. You're like, oh,
exactly. That's right. We have huge blind spots, and
huge.
even if you're a good coach yourself, you can't see your blind spots.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Crazy. So true. We were talking a minute ago about how when you got going, there was, kind of the I don't want to call them the bro sales, coaches out there, the Bill Barons and David Nigel. Is that how you say his name?
David Nagel, right,
David
right.
Nagel, the original sales coaches for coaches. How long ago was that with these guys?
It was like probably at least 10 years ago, like 2010 is when this new field got a little, like it emerged, high ticket coaching. Even the thought of it, because most people were, unless you're a really elite business coach, you weren't really charging that much. And then Kevin Nation, I think he's in Vegas, and I think he was the father of all of this.
Wow.
So.
And what was it about their sales coaching practices that you resonated and didn't resonate with? Because you had mentioned to me, you kind of, their philosophy didn't work for you. You turned it on its head and then crushed it. Like what worked?
I like how you put that.
Don't listen to the men. They don't know.
Well, the men's approach was very hard, and it doesn't resonate. I'm spiritually based, and love is a soft feel. Anything with making money or business is more of a hard feel. Love is soft, and it has to be more heart centered. And the way all these guys were teaching it and doing it was just very hard sale and kind of soul crushing in a way. And I tried it their way, and I felt bad, and I'm sure the people I talked to felt bad. They kind of emphasize making the other person feel bad so that they realize their need. There are better ways to do that,
Points, picking at the pain points, you mean?
Exactly. And you can do that in a gentler way that doesn't make the person feel bad. There are other ways to make the person aware they need help, and that you can give it to them. So that's what, I had to create my own way.
I do notice that even now with a lot of the male sales coaches, they really emphasize, well, what is the cost? What is the cost of not doing that? Well, paint me the story of your life if you don't take action today, right now.
Exactly. That's along the lines of what they teach that doesn't really work for women. And it didn't work for me because I felt out of integrity, even, going there in some way. I do it a different way that was much better for me. So
that is definitely one of the reasons why I'm doing this summit, is because I got on a couple of those coaching calls and I just wanted to punch the guy in the face. I was like, I've not earned the
Yes.
right to speak to me like that. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Okay, so what's your approach now? Do you have a process that you use to
I do. And I
limit?
kind of refined it, from what I learned. But it's so funny because when I look back to that first client I saw that I did, I was dumb because the rule is that if it's anything over $750, you really need to get on a phone call. I think some people can sell more, but in this case, I hung up with her. I didn't even close her, and I sent an email, and she clicked the button and signed up the next day. Like for $5,000. And I hadn't had that. I thought I was seeing things when I went and saw our orders. It's like, really? And so my approach that differs is we still get into a deep conversation and talk about what's not working. I take a little background usually. You're creating a rapport and you're feeling into this person. Where are they? What have they tried? What hasn't worked? What have they been through? And so, you got to have them talking a lot of the time to feel out, but there's got to be a turning point where you start talking about what you could do or some recommendations.
Yeah. So you let them talk, 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 and then you're like, okay, can I have permission to coach you a little bit right now? And then
I don't coach on the call ever. And I would never recommend that because then you're giving away it for free, but I kind of tell them what I would do. And so, I have a set of questions that I base it on, and some of them I ask every time almost the same. But there's a point, and I time it. I will not do more than like 30 minutes. Some people drag it out to 90 minutes or 2 hours. It doesn't have to take that long, and that's crazy. You can get to the point. And so there's a point where I can see, and I'll interrupt if I have to, and just say, this is my magic phrase. I can help you.
Yeah, I can help you. You can
And that's,
now I can help you.
yeah, that's right.
I love
I,
that.
I can help. And so then I might talk a little bit about what I do. I won't do it with them on the call. Some people give a taste of their coaching. I'm not going to do that because they have to pay me for that. That's like, and so I'm not going to give that away because the other danger is they think they got enough coaching and then they'll go away and they won't sign up and they won't do anything. Because believe you me, if they could do it on their own, they would have done it by now,
Yeah.
So,
And it's like they get that one little takeaway that's like, oh, I feel better for a minute. And then
yeah,
and once they've left your sphere, your bubble, you have a less
exactly.
bringing
And
them
so
back.
I think they did it a different way, the way you were talking about, and the guys did it was harsh and it was not very sensitive. My approach is way more sensitive to the individual and what they're doing. And then to tell them, not get into too many details, but how I can help. Like let's say that they had a bad breakup and they're really stuck on somebody. I have an amazing track record for breaking that attachment, particularly if there's no way that it can work. And so I don't tell them how I do it, but I'm just saying my track record is pretty known about how to break the attachment so we can get you to move on. Because I'll tell them you can't get out the gate until we deal with this. So this is where I'm putting my expertise to bear, but I'm not going to give them any steps, no coaching. I'll just say, we need to break the attachment here, and then I find out, are they introvert or extrovert? And if they're introverted, there's a way to meet people. And if they're extroverted, there's another way, and with, I don't know, just different circumstance. So I get into it a little, but it's more like this, I can help. And we need to do this, but not get into specifics of like the magic trick of how. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, 100%. And so it sounds like you've got a couple of like kind of pivotal moments throughout the conversation where it's like you're shifting gears too.
Exactly.
I feel like it really is all about, tell me how you set up an intention at the beginning of the call. So like, I don't know what your process is to getting them on the call in the first place, but it's definitely my philosophy. If you set some parameters in the beginning of the call, the kind of the tension comes down.
That's right. And the free gift I have for your viewers actually gets into that more. The first step that I give them is actually how to qualify people, because you don't want to just get on the phone with anybody. It's a waste of your time and it's not honoring to you because people will waste your time. And our time is the one finite thing we have, which we know as with having children, you really know that. And so you have to be selective. And that was hard for me because I just want to help everybody, but we all have our limit. So that you have to qualify them. And there are a couple ways that I do that, I suggest in this free gift I'll give to your, your viewers. But there are a couple of different ways. There are many ways to do it, but I do suggest some kind of qualifying. And first you have to create, of course, the market that they want you. And then second, you need to qualify. So you're maybe at first just do so many of these they go badly with anybody, just to get used to what's working. And then you can start like qualifying people, so.
And I think as long as you can do that without like destroying your self-esteem, because I think entrepreneurs, when there's rejection, it's very personal. It's like a personal attack.
Exactly. So and yeah. And so people have to get used to it, because my saying on this is there's no rejection. There's only the wrong fit. Right. And so it just wasn't your person.
Yeah.
And so we can't take it personally at all. It just wasn't. And it's really fun when people start saying yes, because it's like, okay, I just had to wait for the right person and maybe hone my technique. Yeah. So
I'm so excited that I have you on the call, because in everything that I'm seeing out there in the coaching space, it's all about social media marketing and group coaching and high ticket group coaching offers. And I can tell you right now, I am experiencing a high ticket group coaching program that I feel like I'm not getting a lot of value out of. I'm not getting that high touch experience. And here you come from like a very high touch, very personalized, very expensive, which bless your little heart, service, but your people are getting serious results. So what, if you could rewind and go back and do anything differently, what would you do? And how do you feel, follow up to that, to the way that the coaching space is being approached right now with all this, like, not just group coaching high ticket offers, but like digital offers, digital courses and digital everything for $3,000.
Yeah, I understand it, and it depends on what sector. If it's pretty specialized, maybe it's worth it with some proprietary information. But I also am right now I'm taking a course that was pretty high ticket, and there's, they do try to give some touch to it, but it's not helpful, and so I know what you mean. And so group coaching, I would tell your viewers to be super careful about who they enroll with, because it has to be something that's worthwhile and that can offer something. And a lot of them just do not do it, or they don't do it well. So I hear you.
What about coaches who are going out there thinking, oh, I'm going to make, because it's all about, the coaches who are coaching coaches are like, we're going to, do 10, 20, $30,000. We're going to scale to 7 figures. And we're going to do it by basically selling en masse in these group coaching programs. What do you feel like they're selling themselves out in terms of the ability to impact people by doing the massive market? Or do you think it can be done? It's like, it's a tough call, right? Because
well, it just depends, because there are life-changing books for $20, right? And so it depends. I would be careful, because you can sell your soul. If you're selling something that is not going to work for people, or that is going to, they need more, and they're just doing this, and it's going to be another money down the drain. I don't know how you could do that in good conscience, and if I've tried a lot of things, and if I ever saw that something wasn't working, I would abort it, or, add something to make it better for people, or whatever. I think I've tried everything at this point, and I could see what works, but it is a fine line. And if people are selling out of integrity, which is what I call it, and they know that the people are not going to get their value out of it, then, I don't know how you do that. I agree that I think there are a lot of people doing that too.
So what has, in your experience, what has worked for you in terms of mentors that you have hired, and in terms of you being a mentor to others? What is the perfect combination, in your opinion, obviously,
right,
but in your experience, in your opinion, what's been the ideal, the sweet spot for you in terms of amount of touch, amount of engagement, amount of one-on-one, amount of group support?
Well, I have to say that for my private coaching, I'm very there for people. We do 4 sessions a month, 1 a week. I have office hours, 2 hours once a week where they can drop in. I do it chat format, so I can be chatting with several people. I have emergency availability because if something comes up, it's the best. So I'm really there. I have over 300 modules I created to help people with different things. So they get access to that, and I, give them homework, and it's very effective. Group coaching, I build in a little one-on-one on that too. I just do, because I couldn't live with myself. And so I've gotten people off of meds and out of a depression, even in group coaching, and so we've made huge strides. I've made people millions of dollars on group coaching, because of the way I do it. Everybody disses me because I probably give away too much of myself, but I charge reasonably for that too. And I just can't not, I couldn't, because who I am, like, I couldn't live with that if I didn't give enough to feel like I'm helping,
Right. Yeah.
So,
Wow.
I mean, they have to hold up their end. And that's something I think everybody should put in their coaching agreement, is that I know that I have to do the work. The coach cannot do this for me, so.
100%, 100%. Well, tell us about this offer that you have.
Well, I'm giving your viewers the basics of how I got all these people to sign up for 6-figure coaching. And so it's okay. And it's called the Conversion Conversation, how to do a 6-figure phone call. And so in it, I tell them exactly what I do. And then if they wanted to go further, and if they might want to be a high-end love coach, and when we certify people, we give them a certification, but they need to charge what's way above entry level for most coaches, because our product is at a premium. Our coaching is at a premium. And so that would be, if they wanted to go further, I could really help them and get into it. But I'm giving your viewers the basics, somewhere to start.
Awesome.
And it helps.
So you have a high ticket love coach business in a box. If anyone in the audience is looking to get into the love coaching space, don't try to do it alone.
Yeah.
Right.
It's good to have help, and it's not enough to learn the love coaching. You have to learn how to run the business, because we're business people. We're not doing it we're not charity. We're not giving it out of the kindness of our heart alone. Yes, we help people. Oprah helps people, but she's also a billionaire. You can do both. So you do have to be a business person, right?
I love money, and money loves me, right?
That's right.
That's right. So that's amazing. That's super generous of you. And we'll make sure that our viewers know how to reach out to you in the content box below. Is there anything else you want to leave us with before we get you back to your 4 kids? How old are your kids now?
My youngest is 14, and they go up from there, but we're still dealing with school and and all that. So, but yeah, I guess my last takeaway was just to try this and don't give up at the first sign of strife. It is so much easier to do one 6-figure phone call than put together a huge product launch. You'll make more than you would have made on the product launch with one phone call. It's so much easier, and it's so rewarding. And everything that you learn coaching, as you get good at it and as you progress, you can put into a book, put into a product. But it's a great way to support yourself when you're starting. So.
I love that. Get on the phone call. There's so many people out there so afraid to get on the phone call, and I think it's just the rejection. So I get it.
And they might not know what to say, which is where I can help. But yeah, it can be the rejection. That's a good thing to remember. There is no rejection. There's the wrong fit. And you can't take this personally. They don't know you, it can't be personal.
No, 100%. Well, thank you so much for showing up on Friday night. And
well, thank you, Adrienne. Thanks for having me. It was a delight. You're a delight.
So are you. Okay, well, we will see you on the flip side, okay?
Okay, absolutely. Bye, and thank you.